But so process skills and cognitive skills really go hand in hand. But these are the small observable actions that were related to like interacting with other tools. Okay. So the first one, I can't even see on this because it's the way I have it set up. Okay. So the first one,
it is really small. Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. The first one is pacing, which goes along.
Pacing?
Yeah. Pacing. Yeah. So it goes along with the same thing that you would be thinking about with motor skills, except that this time you're pacing your endurance. You know, your cognition and your ability to focus. You know, we all have times when you are really, you're tuned in, and then all of a sudden you're like, done, you know, and you're looking at everywhere. But so pacing your brain almost so that you can stay focused. That's what that one has to do with.
Okay.
We
I
have
no idea.
See, learning all of these important skills, right?
No, exactly.
So we talked about pacing and then attending. So you have to pace to be able to attend, right? So you have to be able to keep your focus. Choosing. So that would be obviously making choices, but within when we're talking about using tools. So if we are choosing what item is going to be necessary for writing, or choosing even like a paintbrush or whatever, that you choosing your items that you want, and knowing that you're going to utilize it, which is the next one, using for the correct purpose. So this one always makes me think about the Little Mermaid, you know, when she's like using the fork. The fork is yes. Right. So that is choosing the right utensils and then using them for the way that they're supposed to be, right?
Got it. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Great the next example. One is they didn't know that they were considering occupational therapy within their movie.
No, they didn't.
Handling. So once you have these tools, are you handling them in the correct way? Or are you, throwing your fork across the room? Do you know exactly what it should be used for and how to safely use it? Inquiring. So asking questions, or knowing, hey, here's something that I am confused about. Can you tell me more? Or I really wonder about this.
Oh, okay.
Right. Wondering and inquiring outside. I mean, that's like the best environment to encourage this.
Right. Because you run into so many things that you've never had before. It's always a new environment.
Yes. And in fact, I was telling you about my daughter, who can be very, very tightly wound. And there was one day that I took her outside, and I was like, you know what? We're just going to walk until you tell me 5 things that you wonder about. Now, looking back, it probably wasn't my best parenting moment, because I was doing it out of a moment of really frustration.
Right.
But it served its purpose, because after she stopped being like, Mom, and I don't wonder about anything because you're telling me to, then we both kind of took a deep breath, and I calmed myself down, and I was like, you know what? You're right. You're never going to wonder when I'm just saying, hey, ask me a question about that. But when we just calmed down and took in our surroundings, there really is so much that she does wonder about. And that gave us that opportunity to connect and to, for me to really encourage her in that situation. So, and that also goes right along with initiating. So if you do wonder about something, do you keep that inside, or are you able to then know what to do next about your inquiry? Can you find resources? Can you, or know who to ask a question to, or can you consider it based on something that you've already learned in the past? Continuing. So that is, it kind of goes right along with pacing and attending, but once you start something, can you continue it, or are you always flooding off to find the next thing? Sequencing. So knowing when it starts first, what goes in the middle, and then terminating is knowing when something is over. I think about this one a lot. You saw a picture of my son climbing up a hill, or if we're talking about climbing up a tree, you have to know, what do I do first with my body? What do I do second? When should I stop? And then you should stop.
Right, exactly.
before you're up at the top of this, tree that is not very safe and you're wobbling back and forth, because that has also happened on my watch. Searching.
Yes.
Right. So searching would be, searching and gathering kind of go together. So if you know what you want to do, can you find the supplies that you need, kind of come up with the plan in your head, go and find them, gather them, organize them so that you can use them. And then restoring would be putting them back. Now, restoring, I think, might be something that we struggle with from
many people struggle with.
In our lives.
See their laundry put away, and yes, exactly.
Oh yes, we have piles and piles all over it. It happens to the best of us, but that is something that we can be working on. And outside, there are so many
very good point.
Going into even into national parks. You can talk about that, and that gives a very natural way of speaking of it. That you can't take things out of a national park, and you can observe it, but you're supposed to restore it exactly where it came from. And this is to protect the ecosystem, and it's protect the animals that are out there. And it gives us a different way of talking about putting things away and building this habit without being like, go put your laundry away. I've told you this a million times. But but instead being able to naturally speak of it, and this is our nature. This is nature, and this is a habitat of another living thing. And then carry that over.
Yeah. Well, it takes the context out of the need to do that. Yeah.
The more ways that we have to talk to our kids and to carry over and to use story and narrative within their days, it just gives us so many different opportunities and ways to connect. So the next one, negotiating. So negotiating would be, if you see an obstacle in your way, do you know how to change your plan, or not even, sometimes, yes, your motor plan. So I was climbing up this rocky hill and then a rock fell down. So that's one way of noticing and negotiating. So changing your motor plan, but also just looking safety wise and scanning your environment and knowing, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what's around me, looking out for other areas. And then noticing and responding is the next one. So do you notice something that is not safe, or do you notice something that's around you? And how do you respond to that? How do you adjust your body? How do you adjust what your plan was for, I'm going to go get in this water here. Oh, there's a water snake. No, I'm not. Let me turn around. I have noticed, responded, and adjusted my plan. So all of those are the ways that we take process skills. And if you go to the next slide, I've got some examples there, again, of my own kids. So someday they're going to find all of these things, webinars and podcasts that I've done, and be like, oh my goodness. But one of these is me. So I didn't actually use my children. But this one, I was out and we were, it's at this beautiful park that's really nearby us. And there is a creek. But then instead of building a bridge, they just put up a wire, I don't know, trapeze, is that what you call it? I don't know, a wire line, I guess, to go across. So within that, yes, there obviously is a lot of motor skills to get across it, but I needed to come up with my plan first. I needed to notice what was there, to plan, okay, so how am I going to get there? Am I going to walk across the water? Am I going to choose to use this wire bridge? Am I going to ask somebody else for help? Like, these are all the process skills that you had to go through. And then walking across, one of my friends asked me to stop to take a picture. So that's an adjustment in what my original plan was. So again, all these process skills that I just naturally did because I was outside. And then my boys here climbing a tree, which I kind of talked a little bit about before. But if you look at the weather here, it was snowy that day, and they're climbing a tree. They've climbed to that same area about, 977 times because it's really close by our house. But in that respect, they had to know what is different when it's raining and when it's snowy, and the tree is going to feel different. What I'm going to do with my body is going to be different. How high I can go is going to be different. No, so they have to notice the safety or notice the variables and adjust their safety there. So again, process skills just kind of naturally built in.